Christy, and I have a question for you. What is faith? Is faith just believing something? Is it about trust? The answer, it's really both, but there's so much more to it. One thing we have to know about faith is that it's impossible to please God without faith. And we see that in Hebrews 11:6. And it is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to him must believe that God exists and that he rewards those who sincerely seek him. So faith is the one thing that we need to please God. Our actions are expressions of our faith. And it's through our faith that we're able to move mountains and change lives. I'm not talking about physical mountains. Although it would be really cool if we could move some physical mountains, like slightly to the right or something, right? I'm talking about moving mountains in the lives of others. A mountain could be something tragic that happened, and you're there to support your friend and move that mountain. Or a mountain could be something small, like your friend not passing a test in school, and you help them study for the next one. When we have faith and we trust God and we express his love to others through our actions, we can move mountains. But how much faith do we have to have? We can find the answer in our memory verse, Matthew 17:20b. I tell you the truth, if you had faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. This verse is foundational for our faith. If we have faith as small as a mustard seed, and they're like this big, we can move mountains. Because through God and having faith in God, nothing is impossible. When we obey Jesus and follow him one step at a time, it's an expression of our faith, and that's what pleases God. So today, I want you to remember this one thing. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Say that with me. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Throughout this series, I want to demystify faith. I want to make it real, practical, and approachable. By the end of this series, you will understand that faith is trusting God enough to do what he says, and you'll know how to live out your faith every day. Being a mountain mover means your faith moves you to action. You're not going to be content with just hearing about Jesus or knowing about him. You're going to want to experience him and walk with him. Living a life of faith is not just about believing in God, it's also about doing what he asks us to do. So let's talk about some mountains. The mountain that Jesus is talking about in our memory verse is likely a symbol for anything that is difficult or something that seems impossible. The things that create a sense of hopelessness in your heart. These mountains could be broken relationships, questions about God, family problems, medical issues, finances, maybe even getting into college. The list goes on and on and on. A mountain that I faced in high school was all because of a boy. I dated this guy for like 3 years, which is kind of crazy, and he broke my heart. It was the end of the world for me. Not to be dramatic, but it impacted me so much that I withdrew from my friends. I wanted to drop out of school, go to an online school so that I didn't have to interact with others. I would lock myself in my room and I would just cry. I didn't even want to hang out with my family, which is very different from my norm because my family is so much fun to be around. I had this mountain, and the mountain wasn't the breakup. The mountain was having no hope, secluding myself, and not feeling good enough. And that was a big mountain for me. And if I'm being honest, there was no way that I was gonna climb this mountain because I had no desire to. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to think of your mountain. It might be something you're going through right now or something you previously faced. You don't have to tell anyone around you, just put it in your mind. What is your mountain? I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Say that with me. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. There was no way I was going to be able to do this on my own. But if I had just this much faith, as small as a mustard seed, maybe I could have done it. But I'm human. I was a teenager. I needed someone to help me conquer that mountain, even to just move it an inch so I could start climbing it. There's a parable in the Bible about someone who was facing a mountain, and they needed some help. This is the parable of the Good Samaritan. This parable is a great example of how living a life of faith produces good works. It shows us that when we have faith as small as a mustard seed, we can move mountains through our actions. I want to just read through this parable and then we'll break it down. It can be found in the New Testament of the Bible in Luke 10:30 through 37. When you think you hear the mountain the man is facing, I want you to say mountain out loud. Jesus replied with a story. A Jewish man was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him up, and left him half dead beside the road. I would feel pretty hopeless right now in his situation. It gets worse. By chance, a priest came along, but when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by. A temple assistant walked over and looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. These guys worked in ministry, and they couldn't muster up a little bit of help. So who's gonna move this mountain? Then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Going over to him, the Samaritan soothed his wounds with olive oil and wine and bandaged them. Then he put the man on his own donkey and took him to an inn where he took care of him. The next day he handed the innkeeper 2 silver coins, telling him, "Take care of this man. If his bill runs higher than this, I'll pay you the next time I'm here." Now, which of these 3 would you say was a neighbor to the man who was attacked by bandits? Jesus asked. The man replied, "The one who showed him mercy." Then Jesus said, "Yes, now go and do the same." A Samaritan, who would have been despised by the Jews in the culture of that time, saw a man who had been beaten and left for dead on the side of the road, and he had compassion. He didn't just walk by and ignore him. He stopped to help. He bandaged his wounds, he put him on his donkey, he took him to the nearest inn to get help. The Samaritan was moved to action by his faith in God, and he was blessed because of it. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Say that with me. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Faith and action, faith and obedience, they go hand in hand. And we all face mountains. You're gonna see others face mountains too. So how do we be like the Good Samaritan and help move them? Just having faith? Yeah, that's gonna help you be more like Jesus, but let me give you some practical steps that you can take. Number 1, take time to listen. We are often overwhelmed by what we see, like the priest or the temple assistant. And because we can be so overwhelmed by what we see others going through, we don't listen to what God is telling us to do in response to the needs of others. We're not clearly hearing what God is leading us to do. It will keep us from putting our faith into action. These guys might have been too worried about getting involved because of how it might look for their status. But because they don't do anything, we look at them now and think, yikes, they should have helped. They had some mountains in their life too, their own rules and regulations. Faith is trusting God enough to do what He says. We must first hear what He is saying, but we can serve others and move mountains by listening. And yeah, it sounds cliche, but listening to what others are going through and just being there can be so powerful. I want to take you back to my breakup story. I was pushing everyone away. Didn't matter how we were related or how good of friends we were. I didn't want anything to do with people. But my friend Andrew was more stubborn than me. I remember one night after youth group, a bunch of people, they were coming to my house to watch a new episode of a show that we liked watching together. And even though I love that show, I decided to sit in my driveway alone and cry. But here comes Andrew. He sits down in front of me and was just there. He let me talk and he let me cry and he just listened. This was the turning point for me. I could see a way out of my darkness because someone took the time to just listen to me. The crazy thing Andrew was dealing with a mountain too, but he took the time to serve me and to listen to me. At the time, Andrew didn't know he was moving my mountain, but he was just having faith that God would help me through this and that he could help me through this as well. Mountain movers put faith into action. To move mountains, you have to take time to listen to what God is telling you to do. James 2:15-17 puts it this way. Suppose you see a brother or sister who has no food or clothing and you say, "Goodbye and have a good day. Stay warm and eat well." But then you don't give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? So you see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. Take a minute and answer this question on your talk notes. Who should I be ministering to? I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Say it with me. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Number 2, respond with compassion. When we see a mountain that we need to deal with, whether it's someone in need or something that you are trying to get done, we need to always have compassion as we are working with people to help or to get something done. That's what it means to show our faith by our actions. If someone had come up to me while I was dealing with my mountain and just got up in my face and was harsh, it probably would have just made me dig deeper into the darkness of it all. I would have retreated more. But because my friend Andrew was kind and full of compassion as he served me, I was eventually able to be me again. Remember, faith is trusting God enough to do what he says. The Samaritan began putting faith into action by responding with compassion. God had compassion on us by sending Jesus to the cross for our sins. And now we are to share his compassion with others. Regardless of the mountain we are facing, we need to respond with compassion in our faith. My friend Andrew was facing a mountain. He was dealing with some crazy medical issues, but that didn't stop him from showing compassion to me. James has this powerful section about showing our faith through our good deeds. Now, someone may argue, some people have faith, others have good deeds, but I say, how can you show me your faith if you don't have good deeds? I will show you my faith by my good deeds. You say you have faith, for you believe that there is one God. Good for you. Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. How foolish. Can't you see that faith without good deeds is useless? James 2:18-20. Notice that James says that you must show faith. Faith and good deeds cannot be separated. We show our faith by responding with compassion in everything that we're dealing with or facing. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Say that with me. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. The Samaritan and the man on the road, they wouldn't have been friends because one was a Samaritan and one was a Jew. But the Samaritan moved past that mountain so that he could show compassion, so that he could show that he had faith, so he could show his good deeds. Faith and action go hand in hand. Actions make faith complete. Look at what Paul writes in Galatians. For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. Galatians 5:13. We are to use our freedom to serve one another in love, just like the Good Samaritan did. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. Say it with me like you mean it. I will have faith and trust God to serve others. You have the opportunity to serve others through your actions. And when we look at others and realize they're facing something insurmountable, we can help them conquer that mountain. And if you're personally facing a mountain right now, I understand, and I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. I want to challenge you to have faith as small as a mustard seed, because if you do, God will help you. It's not going to be easy, but God is there for you. Listen to Him, pray, spend time with Him. That's the best way to hear what He wants for you. And look around the room. Those people that are next to you, they're there for you. They're ready to listen and to show compassion. The key to moving mountains is having faith, trusting God, and serving others. We need faith and works together to move mountains. Faith is the belief in something that you cannot see. It's what you hold on to when everything around you seems to be crumbling. It's the assurance that God is who He says He is, and that He will do what He has said He will do. This faith gives us the hope to keep going, no matter how difficult things may seem. Do you have faith? Faith is action. It doesn't just sit there quietly inside of us. It makes noise, it kicks down doors, it breaks barriers, it moves. So let's not just talk about faith, let's live it out. Let's be mountain movers. Let's be people who are moved by action and by the love of Jesus. I will have faith and trust God to what? Serve others. We need to take time to listen and respond with compassion. Are you a mountain mover? If not, why? What's keeping you from obeying your faith and moving closer to Jesus? It may be fear or doubt or something else, but whatever it is, let go of it. Start moving forward in obedience. Do the next right thing, one step at a time. As you do, you will grow in your faith and become more like Jesus. And that's what it means to be a mountain mover. So this week, how are you gonna move mountains? Look at the 2 application points on your talk notes and circle or put a star next to the application that you're gonna work on. You can move mountains if you have faith as small as a mustard seed. Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you so much that you give us the opportunity to move mountains, that we can show our faith through our actions. Help us to look at the people in our lives this week and listen to them and show them compassion so that we can continually show your love and to move mountains. And if you haven't made Jesus the leader of your life, I want to give you the opportunity to do that right now. Just pray with me. Dear God, I want to make you the leader of my life. I recognize I've done wrong, I've sinned, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to experience your love, and I want you to be the leader of my life. I want to be more like you every day. Amen.